The Kioti is figuratively and literally in the shop. Stay tuned to find out exactly what we're doing to this Kioti today. This is the first repair we have to make to it. So see those 4 little black dots on the floor? The Kioti was parked here for a few weeks over different spots, and that's what was left behind. And the Kioti has 275 hours on it. I need to do a little greasing on it today to give it a bath as well at some point. But the first business on order is to repair this leaky seal on the front axle. On the left driver's side, left side, the seal that's right up in here between the pivot point is leaking. So you can see the whole bottom of this is wet. Last night I raised it up, put it on jack stands, and drained the axle. I picked up 7 quarts of AMSOIL Severe Gear 80 W90 gear oil, as that's the manual for this tractor calls for SAE 90 weight or better gear oil. And we got to change this seal. There's one YouTube video out here on it, so I figured this would be good content for the channel to kind of go over what I do to replace that seal. I've got the Dadong actual part. This is the part number T571527131. It's an oil seal. So we'll first get started by taking the tire off, and then we got to pull the hub off. I think there's a C-clip in there that needs to be pulled off, and then we can get the whole entire assembly off. So let's get started. So I've got a 17 millimeter socket for these lugs. I'll pull it off. Oops. Apparently it falls off easily. So the next step then, I think I got to pull the tie rod off here. There's a little key on there that he's pulled off, and then I got to pull off all of these bolts and pull this whole hub assembly off, because I got to get inside, and there's a C-clip inside that holds this hub onto the axle. So that looks to be about 10 or 11. What do we got here? This is 13. That's too big. What do we got here? That's 12. That's not too big. What's deceiving is that they got paint on them. So this is a 12 millimeter socket, but the paint is making it hard to get on. All right, let's make our life a little easier. There we go. It does come. Just like that. Easy enough. All right, so there's the snap ring right here. That's holding that whole assembly on. So, pull the tie rod off. Not the first time I've spilled oil on the ground. So what makes this a little more difficult is that everything was assembled and then they painted it. So there's a layer of paint holding everything together. I think I've got to replace one of these. Is this going to be 17? Nope. Gonna be bigger. They're like 18. Yep, 18. So put this back on so we can pound it out a little bit. Ooh. And there's a bearing in there that can fall out. There we go. Just took a little persuasion. All right, so now we'll work to get out this snap ring. I'm gonna rotate the snap ring and get my snap ring pliers that I think I have. Snap ring is right there. Okay. Let's see. It's very possible that the snap ring pliers that I own here is not going to be quite strong enough or big enough, but we'll see. I do have another set that's not angled though. So I do have these big guys, but I don't know if I can get them in there or not. It's actually not angled. Oh, almost. I think I can do it. Pro tip, get yourself a set of good angled snap ring pliers. And maybe leave this in so it stays still. Got it. Ha! I'm glad I was able to get it. I was almost ready to head to town. So I'm gonna get my big hammer here. It's rubber mallet and pound down. Just like that. And then you can see where it was leaking. Right up on top here. All right, now I gotta clean out this debris, and try to prevent from any of this debris falling in. I probably could get a piece of paper towel and stick it in there. I might do that first. Minimize as much debris from falling in on these bearings as possible. Okay. I'll stop the big stuff. Got the shop vac, and we'll clean this up. I see where it's been leaking. That was easy. See if I can't clean it up a little bit so you can see. Brake clean. But this seal is compromised here. Rubber is Seems to have dry rotted or something. I'm not sure. But it's done. Now that I got it cleaned up, it's time to work to get the seal out. And I'm anticipating it to be kind of a pain in the butt. This is pressed in there pretty well. I got the rubber piece out, so there's this rubber piece. And now there's a inner seal as well. That's kind of pressed in here. Of course. Let's see if this little 1/4 inch will help. I think this is the seal here. Yeah, that is it. Just like that. Removed. And it doesn't look like compromised bearing at all. There's one little gungus right there. Got it out. Soak up any leftover oil. You know what I'm already dreading? Getting that C-clip back in there. It's gonna be terrible. All right, so looks like it was in here like this. And I actually have a wheel bearing seal pounder, so I'm gonna get that out. Except it's not gonna fit over that, and that's not gonna work. Let's try another tool. So if anybody's ever had a 2000, basically a 2000 to, I don't even know how long, when they started changing it, but I had a 2002 and a 2006 F350. And to pound the knuckle seal back in the knuckle, basically you need a special seal pounder. This is just black pipe, 1.5 inch, and I ground down the exterior portion to fit around the pounding, the portion of the seal needs to pound in. And this thing is actually perfect. Actually, what might be better if we had a bigger one, because I don't want to go too far in. I want it to be flush with the top of this. So I'm just gonna have to play it real safe. But this, if you use the, I think this is in 1 1/4 inch black pipe or galvanized pipe with a floor flange, would actually work really, really slick to fit right in there and pound where you need to. I pounded that one a little bit too far, but hopefully it's okay at that depth. I wasn't thinking, and I had it tipped this way. I should have went up on the flange and then just kind of pounded it down to get it to match in. Everywhere else we're flush except on the top side. So if it leaks, we know why. I'm not going to try and ply it back up because that'll just ruin it. And I don't have another one. I mean, these are, I don't know, they're relatively inexpensive, so. And this process hasn't been that bad. But we'll just hope it doesn't leak, not hindering the bearings at all. They're turning just fine. And there we go. Rub a little gear oil on the inside of this so it slides on nicely. We'll go over there and clean off the spindle, I think I want to call that. So this is just a spindle. Seal rides on here. There's a bearing that rides on here and a bearing that rides on here. And then the axle shaft goes up inside and must connect into something up in there. So we'll have to make sure that those splines line up okay. So this floor jack is going to be here to push up on the hub so that I can work to get that C-clip in there. Just a little bit of fluid to lubricate that. Okay, let's see what this does. The splines are engaged when I turn this, the other wheel turns on the other side. So that's good. Okay. So now I can work to get that C-clip in place. Except, let's see that. So what's happening is the wheel bearing that's in there is sliding down as well. Got to try and get that wheel bearing, that bearing to slide back up with some sort of mechanism. Got an idea to hopefully not mar it and wreck it. So this wheel bearing needs to be up. Yeah, just like that. That worked. Now the groove is available. Just make sure that it's up all the way. This is going to be terrible. I can just tell. Because I don't have the right snap ring pliers. It's going to be almost impossible. I'm pretty sure. This one. Just be very. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's going to be terrible, he says. First try. There. Seal changed. We'll clean out the old RTV. This wheel bearing's got to go back in here. I'll clean that up. So I can kind of see where it was installed before. It's a little groove on here. You can see what was actually riding and which way it was in here, and I don't know if it really matters, but if it matters, the words on the inside is the KBC bearing. We're on the inside like that. I kind of marred up this top surface, sealing surface here a little bit. So I'm going to actually grind that off a touch. All right, I went and picked up some new RTV sealant. I had some different stuff and I didn't really want to use it, so I ran to the store and got the Permatex Right Stuff 90-minute gasket maker. It's RTV silicone, and it's ready 90 minutes because I want to use it later today. I got some trees I need to cut up. So essentially, I need to put a bead of silicone all the way around on the one surface, and then right away apply the hub. I've got my bolts ready to go here, and it says apply immediately when wet. So you got enough all the way around. Okay. Bolts are right there. I'm gonna hold the big gear on. There's my numbers. Like that. And it just says the finger tighten until it starts to squeeze out, and I've already got it squeezing out already, so I'm just going to finger tighten it. And then we let it sit for 60 minutes. Okay, well, 60 minutes is going to be a bit, so I'm going to go eat some lunch, upload a video, and then come back when this is ready, torque them down. I got to research what torque values are too. Torque them down and put the oil in. Well, apparently I didn't turn the camera on. Sitting here and putting the wheel on, and it's dinging at me. Well, what I did is I let the RTV sit for an hour and a half, just finger tight. In the meantime, I clean the loader bolts or the loader grease areas of excess grease, because greasing every 10 hours requires a lot of extra grease. And then I just tightened the tie rod end in, put the cotter key back in, cotter pin, went and hand tightened with my ratchet wrench the hub bolts. I do not know the torque. I don't have a service manual, but I just went till it felt good. Should be fine. And now, put the wheel back on. Should be good. According to the owner's manual, 1.6 gallons are supposed to fit in this front axle. So I have 7 quarts. That's 1.75 gallons. 80/90 gear lube. And we'll slowly put it in. I closed all the drain holes. According to my calculations, 1.6 gallons is 1 gallon, 2 quarts. So 6 quarts and 12.8 ounces. So that's quart number 2. 4 more to go, plus 12 ounces. All right, so that's 6 quarts in there right now. I need 12 more ounces, according to the owner's manual. I'm gonna do that by filling this one up, this last empty one at 12 ounces. Okay, that's 12 ounces. So that should meet the required quantity of gear oil in the front axle. Well, now that wasn't too bad. I mean, if you got the right tools, I got them, so I might as well do it. For a $10 part, that would have been probably a full day, couple days that I'd have to go drop the tractor off, have them fix it, and then pick it back up. So one afternoon here to do it myself, not too bad. And it's really not that bad. It's just having the right C-clip or the snap ring pliers to get that snap ring off is the big difference. I didn't have the right one, but I had a big enough one that I was able to get it off okay and get it on okay. Yeah, so that's that. I've got 275 hours on this rig, and that was the first thing that went wrong with it, which isn't too bad. On to making some firewood, and yeah, here we go. I think at 400 hours or 300 hours is when you got to change the front axle fluid. So I already did it. Brand new front axle fluid at 275 hours. Not too shabby.